Now to today's top topic. You probably didn't hear a peep on Main Street, but they've been screaming on Wall Street. The cause, a recent cover story in Forbes magazine trashing variable annuities, one of the fastest growing investments. The article called them rip-offs and labeled anyone who invests in one gullible and a sucker. The investment industry called the article biased and badly researched. In the interest of providing fair and balanced reporting on an issue that affects an estimated 20 million Americans, we invited both sides to argue their case. We regret that after initially accepting our invitation, Forbes reporter Carolyn Geer backed out. However, joining me in the studio today are Mark Mackey, President and CEO of the National Association of Variable Annuities, Jerry Golden, Executive Vice President with the Equitable, which, like Putnam, the company I work for, is a major provider of variable annuities. We also have certified financial planner Tom Orecchio with Greenbaum and Associates in Oradell, New Jersey. Do you own an annuity? Thinking of investing in one? Why? Call our experts at 1-888-TEL-FOX. Mark, let me start with you. The cover of the Forbes magazine article says, "Don't be a sucker. You are one," implying if you own a variable annuity. Why did the variable annuities industry find it so upsetting, this article?
Well, Gail, that had to be by far the most biased article against variable annuities I've ever seen. It was full of inaccuracies and misleading statements. It presented just one side of the story. We've had negative stories before, but at least there was an opposing point of view. There was no other side of the story here, and that's not even legitimate journalism.
Jerry?
I think the starting point where the reporter got off was to compare a variable annuity, which is a total retirement program, to a single investment, in particular an index fund. It's not even apples and oranges, it's apples and apple pie. A variable annuity deals not only with the accumulation of assets for retirement, but the distribution. It is a self-completing retirement program, not a single fund or a single investment.
Tom, as someone who is a neutral, I mean, you're a financial advisor, it's your fiduciary responsibility to recommend investments that are only appropriate for the client that you have before you.
Correct.
Are variable annuities that black and white? Are they as bad as the article painted them?
No, I don't think they're as bad as the article painted them. There were some very accurate points in the article, but there were certainly some inaccurate points in the article. And I think that the purpose of today is to go through exactly what is accurate and what is not.
What kind of person would come into your office and walk out with a variable annuity?
Well, we don't sell products, so I can't say somebody would walk out of our office with an annuity. It's more likely somebody will walk into our office with an annuity. It's my job to then say to them, does this make sense for your financial future?
Okay, so what kind of person would a variable annuity make sense for?
There's a number of situations where a variable annuity is appropriate. High tax bracket, somebody who needs to shelter their assets from creditors, depending upon state law. People, most importantly, who have maxed out on their retirement plans, their 401ks, their IRAs, the Roth IRA. If they've maxed out on all those programs, means they've fully funded them, then it might make sense to use a variable annuity because of the tax shelter feature of an annuity.
Okay. Unsure of what all the fuss is all about, we'll explain how a variable annuity works and take your calls right after this. Variable annuities, a retirement investment that combines life insurance with mutual funds. The insurance guarantees your heirs will inherit at least as much as you invest, even if your investments go down in value. It also protects the gains. The money grows tax-deferred, like in a traditional IRA. Another similarity, money taken out is taxed at your ordinary tax rate. And if you make a withdrawal before you're 59 and a half, the IRS slaps you with a penalty. Forbes magazine recently slapped the entire variable annuity industry, saying the tax deferral is just about the only good thing you can say about these investment products. Almost everything else about them is bad. My guests are Mark Mackey with NAVA, Jerry Golden with the Equitable, and certified financial planner Tom Orecchio. Our phone lines are open at 1-888-TEL-FOX. Gentlemen, let me continue with the rest of that Forbes quote. Almost everything else about them is bad, and they go on to say the high, sometimes outlandishly high costs, the lack of liquidity, the fact that the annuity converts low-taxed capital gains into high-taxed ordinary income. Mark, let's hit on these high, sometimes allegedly outlandishly high costs. What's the average cost of, say, a variable annuity?
About 2%.
All right, and how does that compare to, in this writer's view, a mutual fund, which would be better?
About 1.4%. There are additional fees with a variable annuity, but those fees go to pay for the insurance benefits, which would be the death benefit and the right to annuitize the contract. So you are paying some more, but you're getting something for it. The other point is that the differential is just going to depend on the particular products you're looking at. Some products are going to be more expensive than others because they have more bells and whistles, like enhanced death benefits, that sort of thing.
Yeah, the other point I would make is, again, we're comparing a single mutual fund to a variable annuity that has 10, 20, in fact, 30 different investment options, often not from the same money manager. So I think it's erroneous to compare a single mutual fund.
Well, in this case, for people who haven't read the Forbes article, the writer suggests just put your money in the S&P 500 index, which is an unmanaged index, right? And frankly, if the market goes down, we'll go down equal with the market, compared to an annuity, which offers some, what, benefits?
It has investment choices. It has a whole range of asset classes, often from different money managers. Most variable annuities have a fixed account, sort of a place to go.
Like a CD, where you get a guaranteed rate of return?
CD, so between the variable funds and the fixed funds, you may have 25 investment choices. You have lots of withdrawal options. You have the ability to convert it into a lifetime income. So again, you're comparing a single fund versus a complete retirement program. It's as if I said, how does a mutual fund compare to a 401k plan? It's not a fair comparison.
So you've got a bigger menu with a variable annuity. But Tom, what about the idea that in a variable annuity, when you take money out, you're taxed at your ordinary tax rate, that you don't benefit from a lower capital gains rate?
That's one of the disadvantages of an annuity. Even though it does have the tax deferral, when you remove money from an annuity, you are taxed at ordinary income tax rates versus capital gains.
All right, we'll be back to answer more of your questions. Stay with us. In a recent and highly critical article, Forbes magazine declared the investment landscape is littered with victims of aggressive variable annuities salespeople. That's in direct contrast to a Gallup poll where 93% of variable annuity owners called them an effective way to save for retirement. So what's the story? The Forbes reporter declined our invitation. So joining me to take your questions are Mark Mackey with NAVA, Jerry Golden with The Equitable, and certified financial planner Tom Orecchio. If you've got questions for our experts, give us a call. 1-888-TEL-FOX. Gentlemen, let's go straight to the phones. We have Lita holding on the phone from San Antonio. Hi, Lita. Your question,
Hello.
please.
Yes. I have some money in tax-deferred annuity. I'm not knowledgeable about everything, and when you're talking about variable, what was the difference in that and the ones I have?
Can you tell me again the type you think you have?
Well, it's the only thing I know is tax-deferred, and it's with Delta.
All right. Well, all annuities have tax deferral as one of the benefits. Your money grows without being taxed on the growth every year. You're not taxed on it until you take the money out. Do you know if you have a fixed annuity or a variable annuity?
No, I don't know. Okay. I'm 74 years old, and I don't need the money. And this man helped me to do it, and he said that if I didn't need it, he could make it grow.
Well, who wants to take that question?
Well, it sounds like as a tax-deferred annuity, it is probably a fixed annuity. Doesn't seem like...
What's the difference in a fixed?
The fixed annuity is backed by the insurance company. They guarantee your account value. They credit you with an interest rate like a CD.
It's a guaranteed return. That's what you get.
It's a guaranteed return, and you have guarantee of your principal.
Yes.
Variable annuity depends upon the series of investment choices you make, the series of mutual funds, and your performance is based on the results of those underlying mutual funds.
I don't make any choices.
Okay.
The Delta company does that.
So it sounds like you have a fixed annuity, and again, most annuities have been designed ultimately to provide you with retirement income.
Yes.
If you do hold it and pass it on to your heirs, it's going to be taxed. The gain's going to be taxed at ordinary income. You ought to know that.
When, for instance, if I died and they get it in the will, they'll have to pay the taxes?
There will be an income tax due on the gain between what you invested and how much they received.
Uh-huh.
Lita, I think you need to go back to the person you invested with and find out exactly what kind of
Well,
annuity
it sounds
you
like
have.
it's fixed because I get a report from them every 3 months.
Well, you'll get a report every 3 months from a variable annuity, too. So,
Oh, I would.
Yeah, but your return will vary based on the underlying investments. So just for your own peace of mind, I'd go back and check to see what you've got. All
Okay.
right, thank you.
Thank you.
Let's move on to Miami and talk to David. Hey, David. You're on the air. Hi, David.
Yes.
You're on the air.
Okay, I'm a college student, and I was told that annuities were a good thing for somebody like me from my age to get into, but the person that I talked to made it sound like that annuities and mutual funds were a totally different thing.
Well, that depends. Go ahead, Tom.
David, annuities and mutual funds are different things. I think it really depends on your financial situation, and that would determine if the annuity makes sense for you. It's likely if you're in a low tax bracket and you haven't funded any retirement plans through your workplace that the annuity might not be appropriate for you. You should first consider your other retirement plans and saving outside for other needs like your college education expenses before you put too much money into an annuity.
I would add two differences also. Where a variable annuity is going to be tax deferred, a mutual fund is not. And the variable annuity does have the insurance benefits, such as the death benefit and the right to annuitize, where a mutual fund would not.
All right, but for someone at David's age, he's a college student. David, what's your tax bracket?
Right now I'm at mid to low.
Okay, so 28% or lower?
Yes.
All right, are you working?
Yes, I am.
Are you contributing to a company retirement plan?
No, I'm not, I don't work for a company. I work at a museum.
Okay, all right. Let's talk a bit about whether this sort of an investment, which is a long-term retirement vehicle, this is not something that you're going to put money in and take out in 10 years to buy a house, right, David?
Right, right.
Okay. Is that appropriate for someone of his age and in his tax bracket? Are there other things he should be doing first, in other words, to prepare for retirement?
Well, I think, as you said, I think you should fill up any employer plan, any IRA, and get a tax deduction on the amounts going in. To invest in a variable annuity at this young age requires a lot of discipline. You have to believe you're not going to have to touch it until 59 and a half, because not only there's income tax, there's a penalty. If you're disciplined and if you filled up your other retirement plans, then it makes sense. I can't tell you there are a lot of young people who are that disciplined.
I understand.
The surrender penalties provide the discipline to save, just like you wouldn't think of going into your 401k and getting that money, because when you get ready to retire, you find out you don't have anything in there. The surrender penalties actually act as a way of enforcing the savings ethics, and a lot of people
Let's
like
talk
those.
about that. What are these surrender penalties all about?
There are two, basically. One is a 10% tax penalty if you take the money out before
That's
you're
the
59,
IRS one.
Right, before
Okay.
59 and a half. And the other is the insurance company itself imposes surrender charges that typically last 5 to 7 years and then disappear.
So in other words, if you put money into an annuity and you want to take it out at the 5th year, you're going to get hit with some sort of a penalty, like you would if you cashed out a 5-year CD early.
That is correct, although most insurance companies do allow you to take out a certain amount of money, let's say 10% a year, without any sort of surrender charges applying.
Not all annuities have these surrender charges, though. There are annuities available that waive that back-end sales charge if you go directly to the company to purchase the annuity.
All right, David.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for calling.
Thank you very much.
Let's go to Sioux Falls and talk to Richard. Hey, Richard.
Hello.
Hello, you're on the air.
Yes, my question, first of all, I just wanted to comment that with Mr. Golden, I appreciated that he stated that we, at a young age, we should be investing within our company's programs, and I do highly invest within the stock programs of my company. My question being is that my mother has set up a living trust for her investments, and she currently is investing just as aggressively probably as I am as far as any portfolio that she has. But upon her death, when the trust itself goes into effect, which I do not look forward to, I hope she spends every penny and is very happy in doing so. But at that particular point, she has it set up so then the inheritance to myself and my siblings then goes into an annuity. And my understanding is the reason that she's done so is so that we can avoid an inheritance tax from the government on this. Now, is this correct? Am I understanding this correctly, that that's why she's done it? And at that particular point, from my understanding, and I'm not, I've never dealt with an annuity before, at that particular point, I, as the person who inherits that, only pay tax as I take from that. Is that correct or incorrect?
You will pay taxes on it when you take from the annuity, However,
But does he pay on the lump sum when he inherits it, or does he pay as he withdraws money?
well, it depends on the structure of it. If it was in the form of stocks, bonds, or mutual funds, you would get what's called a step-up in basis. Effectively, what happens is you don't owe taxes on your inheritance. With an annuity, you will owe taxes on the value, the growth of the annuity from the amount you put in until what it's worth today.
Yeah, Richard, sounds like you need to get some more clarification there. We'll continue to explore the ins and outs of variable annuities. Take more of your calls after this break for Fox News Now.
Well, more news is at the top of the hour. Up next, the pros and cons of annuities. Stay tuned as Fox on Money continues.
Welcome back to Fox on Money. I'm Gail Buckner. Variable annuities, one of the fastest growing investments around, have just taken a stomach punch from the likes of Forbes magazine. The February 9th article flat out calls them bad investments, says you're a sucker if you own one. Considering $87 billion went into variable annuities last year, there's a lot of money at stake here. Some of it could be yours. Carolyn Gear, the Forbes reporter, declined to be with us today, but the variable annuities industry is fuming over what it considers a one-sided hatchet job and accepted our invitation to explore the issue. My guests are Mark Mackey, president